The great Erica Wheeler is here to talk about her many basketball successes. Locked on Women's Basketball starts now.
Ogumawale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball, and a happy Wednesday to you, and a happy birthday to my wife. I'm Howard Megdal, founder and editor of The Next, and I am delighted that you made us your first listen every day, where we have coverage of the women's game 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, everything past, present, and future. Saturday is for the draft. Our draft folks just broke the site over at the Next Hoops. I'm in the midst of fixing that, a comprehensive look at the remaining talent. There is so much to come in the drafts ahead, even as we are still dealing with an incredible 2023 draft class. But make sure you subscribe, get our podcasts every day. It's not just me, it's the incredible group over at thenexthoops.com, where we have over 100 reported pieces every month, a reporter in every single WNBA site. We are making sure we're covering it. Help us get where we need to go. $9 a month, $72 a year for the subscription, thenexthoops.com. And something that we do a lot of over and over again is covering Erica Wheeler, who does so many interesting things, has come from, look, Erica, there are people, I guess, who doubted, right? When you go undrafted, I go back a long time. And so I remember you at Rutgers and understood that this was in you. And so to see you here, now playing with the Indiana Fever again, and we'll get into that. There's just between your utter dominance in the Polish league, you've been able to establish yourself in a way that is undeniable. And I guess I wonder for you, does it feel to you to a certain extent like you have proven it, or do you still sort of have that chip on your shoulder, and are you still addressing the way in which you attack your basketball career in that way? Take me through it, sort of how it feels to be Erica Wheeler in 2023.
Well, Howard, thanks for having me. Appreciate that all that you do for the women's game. I think it's super important that you push the agenda to push women's game. So I want to thank you for that. Do I have a chip on my shoulder? Howard, yes, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, as humans, we get comfortable once we get to a certain level of, acceptance from your peers, respect from the coaches, GMs. We get comfortable because everybody know who we are. But for me, I always think like it's 144 jobs. I can never really get comfortable because at any given moment, it's a draft happening every year, and new talent is coming out every year. Like as point guards, they're 6'4". I'm 5'7". So the game is changing, drastically for me. So for me, I can never sit and get comfortable and say, hey, I know that my peers respect me, these coaches respect me, but still, it still doesn't give me a level of like, okay, get comfortable, because I think the moment you get comfortable, you can be out the door. So I attacked everything as if, I don't have a job, even though I have a 2-year deal signed, but I always attack it as if I don't have a job, because at the end of the day, it's always some youngster working twice as hard trying to get where I'm at. And I want to make sure I'm always prepared, when that day comes, when I have to outwork a youngster when I'm about 35 years old and she's 21, 22 with so much energy coming in the gym. So I always just try to prepare my body in my mind as well, because like you said, I got undrafted. Like it wasn't an easy road. And I think that's the advantage I have too as well, that I don't ever really get comfortable when most people who get drafted, they're kind of comfortable in the sense of, oh, I got drafted. I'm gonna be on the team. I have a spot. So let me just go and do the work. No, for me, I always have to work 2 or even 3 times harder.
You put in the work, which is why teams have coveted you. It's why you have that 2-year deal. And again, you talked about, oh, someday when you're 35, a early happy birthday to you. I know you turned 32 on May the 2nd,
Yeah.
and that is hard to conceive of as somebody who remembers you from back in college. But that you have put together this distinguished career is significant over and above it. It doesn't mean, though, that you have forgotten your roots. And before we get into some of what has happened over the past few years and the work in which it just manifests itself on both the W side and overseas as well, I want to make sure, if you're not looking at us on YouTube, if you're audio only, you are following. I mean, this has to be the best Twitter handle in the WNBA. Eweezy for threezy. WEEZY_FOR, the number 3 EEZY. Make sure you're following, not just because of Erica's exploits on the court, but because of the work that you are doing with your foundation. Take me through the way in which you're doing that and what we can be looking forward to from that in 2023 as well.
Well, the Willard Kids Foundation, I started in 2016. I just felt like it was my duty to give back. I mean, I always gave back in ways, that was, not on the radar, because that's just what my heart tells me to do. But I told myself at some point I need to establish a foundation so, we can also highlight the work that I'm doing off the court, and then also be able to be in a position to help, people that are in need. Every year I have a basketball camp in Miami. This year would be year 6 in Howard. Every year sells out. Last year we sold out in 45 minutes. The camp is completely free. Sponsored by Adidas, where you get Erica Willer t-shirt, a pair of basketball shoes, and a great experience to be around other great players and also elite level of training. So for me, I pride myself in having these camps, and I also pride myself in allowing it to be free, because growing up, I couldn't go to a camp that was $150 that would provide me the best skills and also to be able to get a pair of shoes. So for me, I think it's probably one of the best camps in the world to be able to give these kids that experience. And also, you never know. Like last year, I had a kid who needed some basketball shoes, but when they came to my camp, the mom was just like, "Thank you. I don't have to buy her basketball shoes because she has a new pair." So for me, you just never know how, in what way you're helping your community in the most smallest ways. So for me, even for the parents to even help them out in that little small way means a lot. And then also being able to get these kids in the gym and to escape whatever whatever they're dealing with at home, because I don't know every kid's situation at home, and they can be dealing with some stuff that I know nothing about. But I know for these 5 or 6 hours, they in a safe space, for one. 2, they're around a bunch of people that love the game. 3, they're around people that's going to care for them and show them the way. So for me, I pride myself in having camps every year, trying to expand to Indiana. So I think we're going to do something in Indiana this year. But that's still, in the works of, working on how we can make that be the, execute that the best way we can. But the Miami camp is incredible, Howard. Like, every year we sell out at least at 200 kids, and then you still have kids that show up asking to come in when it's kind of hard to turn them around. But I have to, because at the end of the day, I can't have a certain amount of kids in the gym. We are at capacity. So even for me, it's just showed me that I'm doing my part, that these kids are eager to either, come and be around me and get the knowledge from me in a way, and then also to just help their game. I love to see it. So the Willard Kids Foundation, also, we do things like go feed the homeless, and we go into hospitals and talk to kids. So just finding ways to just touch the community in ways that, these kids and the community just don't have access to. So I think I'm creating a bridge to, allow me and my family to be able to help people in need.
It's a beautiful thing to see. It's wonderful to hear. It's what we're here to amplify, to talk to you about it. But it also reminds me a lot of conversation you and I had a few years ago about a promise that Vivian Stringer made to you back when you were in high school. The idea that you were going to be more than just a basketball player.
Yeah.
And it still takes some getting used to for me, to be honest with you, the idea that Vivian is not coaching anymore. But I just wonder for you how much it feels like when you're doing this work, that it feels like you're carrying on the Vivian work, that has been so significant through so many decades.
Absolutely. And I've been asked, how do I feel about Vivian not coaching? I tell people all the time, I think she's done way more than enough and gave us way more than she can ever give the game. Well, anybody can give the game. So uh, I think when she hung up her coaching, I think everybody should be like, thank you, because she's done way more than most people can even expect,
Uh,
just from starting from Cheney. Um, so I do take pride in when I'm doing certain things, when I'm having interviews, when I'm on a basketball court, when I'm out in the community. I do pride myself in being able to represent her, my family, my mom, more importantly, that, I was raised well, and also that, that little kid that they betted on a long time ago is they did a great job. I was rough. I was rough with Howard, and Vivian, my mom, and my family, they signed me up pretty well. So I do take pride in, representing them to the best of my ability every time.
they- it certainly worked out for everyone involved. There's no question about it. And you're right. Vivian deserves the rest. I just miss having her post game. I miss
Yeah.
hearing her answers when we get to talk to her.
Wisdom, man. Like that's the one thing that I'm learning as I get older, man. It's just so much gems out here that people can just give you wisdom just from having a small conversation. And she's one of those people that give you like, I want to know more. I want to know more. Like you, she opens your eyes in a way. She give you this feeling like I want to know everything that's going on in your head and your thought process. So, but like I said, I think she's giving the world enough. And even you, Howard, I think she's giving you enough to say,
Oh,
hey, I've got a lot of wisdom from this lady. Thank you.
more
Yeah.
than. I'm grateful for every chance we had.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some of the on the court work that you're doing as well. First, do need to let people know about our sponsor, Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. It is a game that you get the opportunity to be an NBA GM right now on your phone. You control every strategic aspect of a franchise, deal with changing personalities, you hire the coaches and assistants, trading players, making draft picks, navigate even through free agency and all the ups and downs of multiple seasons. You go ahead and download it either by going to probasketballgm.com or searching for it in the App Store. And Locked On Women's Basketball listeners get 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On. Again, you go to probasketballgm.com, use the promo code Locked On, and you can get that 100% free boost to the franchise. Ultimate Basketball GM, start your dynasty today. And the dynasty that is being built in real time in Indiana. I mean, we talked about, those players, right? Those young, hungry players who are coming up. Well, so many of them are on the roster. You even look at how difficult training camp is going to be coming up ahead with the five picks who came from last year and, an equal number here this year, including 1, 7, and 13. And we'll get to each in tow. For you, I mean, how exciting does it feel to be able to now be that voice, not in a camp, in your summer camp, but be that veteran voice with a group of young people who are just learning what it is to play in the WNBA?
This is why I signed up for it. This is one of the reasons why I went to Indiana. First off, Christy is a dear friend to meet. She's one of the reasons why I became an all-star in 2019. So I told her who's the better person to help her along this journey. It's her first year as a head coach. I know she trusts me. I trust her. Christy is someone I invite to my wedding, with a +1. So I told her, this is why I'm here. So I know what I'm up against. I know that I'm gonna have to teach a lot and help guide. But the one thing I love is that they're eager. They're asking questions now. They just want to know and want to learn everything. And that's the easiest part to walking in as a vet, that you don't have to push, you don't have to make anybody do anything there. They want it. So for me, I think I'll have a lot of fun because there's a lot of youth. They'll keep me young,
Mhm.
So and like I said, they're eager. And For me, I think I'm in a position that I've never thought I'd be able to be in as a vet. I always thought I would just play under the radar, but I'm in a position where, these kids are listening to me now, not me just always listening. So I'm happy to be in this position because naturally I'm a leader. And I think with my journey, I think I get the respect already because of my journey and how I've gotten into the WNBA. And I don't have to tell anybody the work I've done. They saw it, so I think that's a big thing too as well. And the more important thing is these kids want to stick in the W. You know how easy it is, Howard. Like you can get drafted and be gone the second day in training camp. So I think the number one thing that I've been asked is, how did you stay for almost 8 years? So for me, it's like, it's work. It's nothing with words. It's nothing with anything outside of just to put the work in. Whatever your coach tell you to do that, and then something on your own, because just practice is not enough. You don't get here with just practice. So I'm eager. I'm happy that I'm in this position. And Indiana is a second home for me. Indiana made me an all-star. I was there for 3 years. So I'm very familiar with the city of Indianapolis. It is a lot of new things with staff, and the buildings and stuff is a little different. Maybe lost a couple of, for the first week or two, but it's home for me. I felt good about it, so I'm happy about it. And we have Aaliyah Boston, we have Grace, the other draft picks that we got. I think they're pretty solid. Yeah. And I think we're going to shock some people. I don't want people to count us out completely, because at the end of the day, like, you can't teach heart and you can't teach will. That's within you. And I can see that these kids have it already.
It's interesting you talk about Grace. And to me, that was such a logical move, right? To follow up having you here with having Grace. Here's somebody who, just like you, had to essentially make the conversion to point guard in college. I know for you it was after freshman year. Yeah. Grace had to do it in her senior year, I guess technically her fifth year, whatever we're calling it these days, after Allie Patberg left Indiana. But to be able to show Grace, who made tremendous strides in my view, and I thought, frankly, was a really smart value pick for Lynn Dunn at 7, to be able to teach her how to make that transition to point here in the W. How much do you relish that as just an opportunity to be able to really give someone the opportunity to follow in the footsteps, specifically positionally, that you did?
Well, I actually saw Grace when they played against Iowa State, when they played Clark. And I was intrigued. And the crazy thing is, it's a video out when I'm on TV when Grace went to the basket on a tough basket and got hyped. It made me stand up, because at the end of the day, Howard, I'm a fan of the game. And the point guard position is it's not an easy job. I tell people all the time, it's not an easy job. You almost have to be your coach on the court, and then you have to worry about 4 other people and make sure they're doing what they need to do. They're in the right position. Like, the job is hard. It's not for someone whose mind is not sharp. So when I saw Grace in person, I was impressed, just with her drive and will not to give up. So when we got the pick, I sent Christy a message. It was like, good pick, but I'm eager. She's one of the ones that I text after she got drafted. I text her, and she's the first thing she said, I can't wait to learn from you. So for me, that my mind is open already, that, hey, I'm gonna have to teach this kid whatever she asks me, I'm gonna have to be sharp and ready. So it's helping me as well, that I know I have to be sharp and have to be ready to give her answers that, from the questions that she asked me. And I think she would be fine, because if I knew what I knew now in college, my job would have been a lot more easier, because honestly, it's really just about confidence. It's about your teammates trusting you. It's about your coach trusting you. It has really nothing to do with basketball skills. Yes, you have to have the skills to be able to pass and make plays, but I tell people all the time, being a point guard is a mental game. And if you can gain your teammates' trust, the world is yours. You know what I mean? Because then now they trust whatever decision you make is the right decision. So I think for her, it will be to gain her teammates' trust. And I think I already have that trust for my teammates, because that I'm a vet and they know who I am. But that's the part that I think we'll have to work on the most. It's the mental game. It's being able to gain your teammates' trust, and whatever decision you make, be confident in it.
It's interesting that you talk about that because decision making is obviously key and it's something that you bring to the table. But to my mind, when I look at you getting this opportunity in Indiana, the biggest thing, and I would imagine you would see it the same way, is an excitement over questions of things like spacing,
Yeah.
over what you have on the court. There's a lot of conversation, and rightly so, about Aaliyah Boston's ability to defend, her ability to rebound, but you have there obviously a five who is super efficient right at the rim. This is a team that already had shooting, in Victoria Vivian's and Lexi Hull. You add a Taylor Mikesell to add into that spacing as well. There's just a lot of weapons here, and it's been a bit of an up and down ride for you over the last couple of years when you look at who are surrounding you. And I want to talk about, and we're going to get into it in segment 3, but I just, for you to have this chance to be able, I mean, do you feel almost like a kid in a candy store, with just all of the options you're going to have there when you get to run the show here?
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. Aaliyah Boston was a no-brainer for Indiana. I think it was a no-brainer for the world. Not even just as a basketball player, as a person. I think what like kind of sealed the deal for me that Aaliyah Boston is the one is when they was in tournament and she gave one of her teammates her award because she felt like her teammate was the reason why they won the game. For me, Howard, that's character. That's having a good heart. That's understanding the game, that I need my teammates in order to be as good as I am. Like that would kind of, I was just like, this kid is not normal. Like basketball skills, like we know that. Like you have great basketball players, but the hardest thing is to have a great human and a great basketball player, and to also know that you're number one in the world, but also can still give your teammate who nobody really talks about, but maybe a little bit, an award that's not just any award, Howard. This is all tournament. Like you work your ass off for that. So for me, I was just like, yeah, this is what we need in Indiana. We need good people because we have the talent. That the talent is not the issue. When you have great people, man, it makes the world easier. And then for us, her basketball ability, like I don't need to talk about that. We all know what she can do. Like I think the world knows that. If you know about basketball, you know Aaliyah Boston. So I don't think I need to jump into any of that. And then Taylor, I was just impressed through the strides that she made, towards the ending of the season. My girlfriend Danielle Edwards, she coaches at SMU. She's the one that kind of put me on notice with her, and I'm just like, okay, because for me, the I like to watch NCAA time. Like, of course, I watch certain games throughout the season just to see, who's who. But NCAA time is when people really show up. Like, that's crunch time. So my girlfriend put me on notice with her a long time ago. I was just like, okay. So when we got her, I was just like, okay. And I know that Nas Hillman knows her. So I sent Nas a text like, tell me about this kid. She was like, hey, you don't have anything to worry about. She's going to work her ass off. I was like, noted. So I have my ways of, getting my information and doing my little research and, trying to figure out what ways to kind of, get through to him. But the additions we have, like you said, kid in the candy store, I have everything I need. Just have to put it together.
It is so exciting. I cannot wait to see it. And to talk about just the last few years, how we got here is something we're going to address here in segment 3. First, just want to tell people at home about Game Time. The Game Time app is very, very important because buying tickets to your favorite events, Indiana Fever games, for instance, shouldn't be stressful. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. There are killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee, so you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. The thing I like to do is I go to the app and they give you a picture of exactly the site you want to see. I got 2 small people who live in my house, and I tell them, hey, you want to go with, mom and dad to a game? Here's the view we're going to get. My younger one is a basketball junkie, so she's very particular about where we do it. And we make sure we check out the Game Time app to do it. You can do that by downloading the Game Time app, creating an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So, Erica, it's sort of two parts to it, right? And one is I saw the video that came when you were back in Indiana and they were showing that 2019 All-Star Game MVP performance. I know that was an emotional moment for you. Just take me through why it was emotional for you in that time and sort of what you were feeling about it as you saw it up there.
Well, Howard, ever since 2019, I cannot watch that video fully without shedding a tear. And it's 2023. Like, I don't know how to get past it, Howard. And I think I've come to the terms where it is what it is. It's just a very emotional video for me because, like I said, I worked my ass off, Howard. And I think that video just shows and let me know like how hard I worked to get where I am. And I think it was just super special because nobody ever thought that I would be an all-star from one, because Indiana that year, I think we won like 11 games. So nobody expected that from me being on a team that won 11 games that year. I just was super efficient that year, Howard, and I think it came from being overseas. We won Euro Cup that year, and I just rolled over to the WNBA, and I just was rolling. Everything was efficient. So for me, being able to be amongst some of the greatest players to ever play the game, and I say that very highly. Like we have some players right now will be some of the greatest players to ever play the game. So to
Yeah.
be just amongst Sylvia Fowles, who I grew up watching from Miami when I was her ball kid when she was at Miami Edison. So just to be along the side of her, to be able to play this game and be an all-star, I think it was super special. And just when I got the awards, it just brought me back to everything that I worked for and why I do what I do. And my mom is the centerpiece of why I work hard, why I do what I do. And so to be able to get that awards in front of however many people that was there, and to literally hear nothing in the gym because everybody was listening to me. You can hear a pin drop. When Holly asked me the question, it was dead silence. So for me, I think that was a moment of the world is listening to me. It's like listening to me. So I want to speak from my heart, and I spoke from my heart, and I think I've touched thousands, maybe millions of people that day, on down to my NBA brothers who reached out to me, NFL players. So for me, it just was a very touching moment that I just can't get through the video because and then being able to watch the video in Indiana in the same gym that I played in, to get me to that point, it was just super emotional. It was super.
I mean, it makes sense, and again, it's a touchstone, but, if the listeners will forgive a point of personal pride, what you've done since is not to rest on
Right.
it, and with what you've been through since and the fact that you had to fight through COVID and you had to fight through some locker rooms that, you get into
Yeah.
where, trying to get to a point where you are back in this position, being in Indiana, being surrounded by the proper talent level and getting the chance, you show it everywhere you go.
Yeah.
To be the Polish League MVP.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 years running, right? This was last year too,
Yeah.
correct?
So the Polish League has two different games you can play. So you have the Polish Cup game and you have the Polish League.
Mhm.
Last year I won Polish Cup and Polish League as an MVP.
Right,
This year I won MVP for the Polish Cup. The
right.
Polish League, we just lost 2 days ago by one in the Polish League. So you win some, you lose some. But yeah, that's not easy to do, to go back to back because all eyes on you. How every bucket in Poland was tough. Like nothing came easy. If it was easy, uh, it was not easy, because everybody know who you are. The coaches know who you are. They scout you in that way, and that's what they're supposed to do. You do what you can to try to stop the MVP. And when I tell you, Howard, they made me work for every bucket. God, I promise you, man.
Well, you work for everything you got. You get everything that's coming to you. It is always delightful to catch up with you and share your story. Erica Wheeler, make sure you catch her every chance you get. Indiana Fever, she's right. They are under the radar, and you better watch out for them. So I want to thank all of you for listening and making Locked On Women's Basketball your first listen every day. Make sure you're listening every day. We're going to be back with you tomorrow but Nigel Laney's going to join us. As a matter of fact, I guess this is Rutgers week here on the Locked On Women's Basketball Podcast. Erica, thank you. All the best, and we'll be seeing you very soon, I'm sure.
Howard, thank you for having me. And again, I appreciate you, the way you push the women's game and the way you talk about us. Like, it's so important, and for you to be around the game to see how much it's grown to the capacity that is at now. Howard, like, I know this is your job. I know this is something that you love, but I can't thank you enough. And I know I can talk for my peers that we thank you for pushing the agenda for us because we need it. So, Howard, I thank you.
I appreciate it. Never going to stop. All the best. All the best to all of you, and have a wonderful day. This is Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm Howard Megdal.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.